Raspberry. I brought up raspberry ketone.
Yeah.
But I brought up a little spoon to shovel it with, and I don't know where it is, but it doesn't matter. Is there a pipette around? I'll show you a trick Harry taught me.
I know this trick.
Do you know this trick?
Yeah.
With scissors and a pipette?
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, there are two tricks with scissors and pipettes. And I'll go back with a pipette. Okay, going to make a spoon. Is this what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly
You already knew.
what I was thinking.
So I made myself a little scoop.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, raspberry ketone. I'm featuring it this month because I think it has superpowers. Now, it also has the ability to lighten skin. And all things which have the ability to change the skin's texture, you've got to be very careful with. So it is restricted by IFRA for reasons of safety, but it's restricted. What IFRA does is it doesn't let you go right to the edge of dangerous. It only lets you go absolutely nowhere near. So if you fell over, you can't fall off.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. If it were a cliff top. So the amount that we are allowed to use, which I think is like 0.4% in the finished fragrance, which means that if your fragrance is at 20% strength, you can still use 2% in the formula, which is a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but the thing about raspberry ketone is that it's not that smelly. So there's tiny little lovely shiny crystals. They look like little hairy things. So you don't want to inhale the crystals, but you can just waft it past your nose and get the feeling of just very gentle, soft background raspberryness.
Yeah.
So why do I think this is so marvellous? Well, the thing about crystals is they tend to make things last quite a long time.
What if it comes in a powder form?
Yes, powders, they just seem to have that kind of extra stickiness, which, like coumarin, helps things last.
Ethyl vanillin.
Ethyl vanillin, ethyl maltol.
Yeah.
They just Veramos, which did I say that right? Which is methyl atratate, which is the replacement for oak moss, sort of very mossy, sticky. And that irisone, there are two different irisones, but the one from Cinnarome, which smells like the earth, that you just dug roots out of the ground, they just endure. So, because people are always asking how do they make their fragrances last longer, this is one of them. It smells a little bit like the bottom of the pan after you've been making jam. But only people who make jam will know what that's like. But but I mean, like if you took the lid off a jar of raspberry jam, but there's not very much left in the bottom, it doesn't leap out at you.
I tried making jam once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I overcooked it so that then when I poured it into the jars, it was fine.
Yeah.
But then when it set solid, completely solid. You couldn't sink a knife into it.
Did you have too much of the setting? Oh right, it wasn't. I thought maybe too much setting agent.
No, I don't think so. I think I just burned it. I think I just overcooked it so that when it set, it turned into a hard-boiled sweet.
Still sounds quite attractive, except if you can't get it out.
Yeah.
So I thought I might do a little bit of a demo on what raspberry ketone might make your fragrance smell like.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Thank you. Of course, it's a little difficult because we can't spend lots of time. I mean, we can't sit here for 8 hours. We can't really sit here for 8 hours and see the effect, but pen.
You mean the effect of the longevity?
Yes, I do.
What does ketone mean?
Yeah, I do know that most perfume materials are ketones.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it's an organic molecule. Oh, It's an organic
compound.
compound.
An organic compound
Go on.
containing a carbonyl group
Yeah.
bonded to 2 hydrocarbon groups made by oxidizing secondary alcohols. The simplest such compound is acetone. There we go. So that's for the
Thanks.
chemistry buffs.
I would have said that.
Well, chemistry buffs, yeah.
Yeah, except I didn't remember.
Yeah.
So what we have here, I have 2 fragrances standing by. I've got Sparkles and Skin, which are from the Tempest Rose, the House of Burlesque. Yes, the House of Burlesque series. Thank you. I'm getting so much better at this now. I said that, and then it got stuck. So that's what happens when I show off. But yes, that they're doing quite well. So Sparkles and Skin aren't out yet, apart from the crowdfunding. But Sparkles is, well, I'll let you smell it. Very light, bright. I actually used aldehydes. Me. But just a tiny little amount, just right. You just want it to lift and shine. So very citrusy, and this forms the top of Tempest Rose, the fragrance, but also exists on its own as Sparkles.
Very sparkly.
It is quite sparkly, isn't it? So, and what I intend to do with this is add raspberry ketone to it,
Okay, great.
because I think one of the best ways, I'll take a punt there, I'll stick my neck out and say one of the best ways is to take a blend that you know well, and then add something else to it to see what the effect is. I mean, an effect, it'll affect any blend differently. And this one is Skin. So this is longer lasting, deeper, darker. Materials which tend to be called base notes.
Have you got musk in there?
Many.
Yeah.
Yes, there's
I can smell thingy majiggy.
Aurelion,
No.
Belvione.
No.
There's Honeybush, for fun.
Hedione. No?
Yes, and very good. Helichrysum as well. Lots of things begin with he.
Gosh, that's really nice. I couldn't really smell it at first, but then when I closed my eyes and gave it time.
That's the thing. It doesn't. Skin stays close to skin. Sparkles leaps out at you. That's what it's for.
Yeah, wow.
But, so I thought, would not it be fun to put some Sparkles in a bottle, add raspberry ketone, put some Skin in a bottle, add raspberry ketone, see what happens.
Yeah.
So now normally I would be diluting this first and then adding it, but I think we'll just go straight for it.
Okay.
So I've got my little portable scale here for diamonds. So put the bottle on, press, the tear buttons on the different side of this scale. Nearly got confused. Should have got a bigger pipette. That's right, I've got the pipettes. I'll just go there. Skin. Sparkles. It's not. I'm disappearing. Sparkles.
You think that's a pipette?
This is a pipette. Yeah. Very good. Marks for the cultural reference. I will put in a fair bundle because we're only allowed to put 2%.
Yeah.
Well, it's at 3% because this is at 15%. Yeah, so I'll put. If I put in 9.7 grams, I can put in 0.3 of raspberry ketone, and then make it up to 10, and then that'll just be very neat in my head, mathematically speaking. Okay, so That sparkles by itself. Let's take that to the right of it. Now, okay, it's a little bit...
So you're adding the...
I'm adding
you're not
it-
diluting that. Yeah, so...
No.
But you can do that.
Yeah, I can.
Well, obviously you can. But
Because I'm adding it in a much smaller quantity than I would normally. So that is... 0.3 grams.
well done.
Yeah. Well, done it before. Also, the witchery.
Yeah.
So it will dissolve
Gosh, can I
quickly.
smell that in the air?
Possibly. Oh, you got it on the strip.
No, maybe
no
I've
you
got it on the
haven't got
strip.
it on the strip. So there's a tiny little bit left, so it's there. Okay, so this is going to be sparkles plus raspberry ketone.
Raspberry sparkles.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
It shouldn't leap out. Sparkles plus RK. And what I also ought to do is write that on the label at some point. So I've got sparkles without, sparkles with,
Mmm.
and over time it will feel more raspberry.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just...
Oddly, it feels to me as if it's lifted it up a little bit further, and I'm not expecting that.
I agree. It feels fizzier.
Yeah.
Mmm.
And this is very citrusy, sparkles by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sparkles with raspberry ketone. A little bit more fruit salad chew.
Yeah.
I
Yes, it is.
don't know if they exist outside the UK.
I don't think they do.
Probably not. Why would anybody?
I'm not sure fruit salad chews exist in the UK anymore.
Oh, I think they do.
Black and white packet.
That was the licorice ones. The fruit salad ones are pink at one end and orange at the other end.
That's right.
Yeah. But you always got them at the same time in the same shop. They were in jars next to each other. What?
Fruit salad chew. There they are.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had a
Yeah.
look recently. Yeah, you can order them from old-fashioned sweet companies. This scale, the on-off button is where the tear button is on my other scale. It's the other way around, so I just switched it off again. So I've just started again. So I want to do the same. I will do the maths later because I just need to make absolutely sure that I put in no more than is legal.
But also, this isn't going on our skin.
This is not going on our skin, but all the same, if I decided I did want it to go on my skin,
Yeah.
I would want it to be compliant. For reasons of why would you mess with anybody's skin?
Mm-hmm. So what? It sort of bleaches the skin, does it? Or lightens
Apparently,
the
yes.
skin?
Apparently it can cause skin lightening.
Right.
So,
Well, not obviously bleaching is the wrong word to use.
yeah.
but
but so does vitamin C.
Mm.
I mean, there are people who use those things because they have skin damage and dark spots on them, but then there are countries I've been to where people like to, like, I was in Indonesia and some people were so pale it was scary.
Yeah, it's a big part of the cosmetic industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, you don't really want to go messing with things which alter.
Not when certainly not when it's not what you set out to do. If what you're setting out to do is to make a fragrance.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, who am I?
People can do what they like, but
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
if your job is
safety
to
reasons, if your
job is to make a perfume,
something smell nice, you don't want people surprisingly finding.
yeah,
So, yeah, tiny amounts. 0.02. That one is spread registering. Whoops. Okay. And that's 0.1. So I'll do this for. I'm going to write that down. So it's me touching it. I'll wash it off with ethanol. Bad Sarah. Okay. Consider it rinsed. Yes. Should have put the gloves on. Children, put the gloves on.
put gloves on,
Yeah.
not woolly gloves.
No, 100% strength materials. Bad Sarah. Anyway, there it goes. So, first of all dip, and then I will also write, because I haven't written anything down yet. Right, so this one is skin with raspberry ketone. So this is what I'm getting people to do on the Senthusiasm community, the Patreon. That's quite weird. Okay. I mean, it hasn't really had the time to dry yet.
It feels like it's made it smell more resinous.
Right. So
Wow, that's completely changed it. It's brought it all out. Unless
yeah, it feels much. It's been much rounder.
And just a lot more in like. It comes off the strip a lot easier, a lot more readily. Maybe it's just because it's
That's just
fresher.
probably because we just dipped it. Like, that's another thing you have to take into account.
Dippage time.
Yeah, all the different variables. So, what we probably ought to do was dip two at the same time and then compare rather than wait. But it's not been that long. It's the 15th. And so we did sparkles at 15%, 9.7 grams plus 0.3 grams RK at 100%. Then we did skin at 15%. Oh, it's fine. It was only 0. That was 0. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I'm happy now. Now we've written it down. So why? I mean, would we want? I'd probably, if I'd wanted raspberry ketone in Skin and Sparkles, I would have put them there. So I'm not doing it because I want it in there. I'm doing it because I want to find out what happens.
Yeah.
So, as somebody asked recently, what do you mean by experiment? This. How do you find out what happens? Well, you sort of got to do it yourself. And you've got to experience it, because it's all very well having someone say, well, if you do this, that happens. You don't really know what that means until you try it and you smell it yourself.
So, what are you smelling for?
For?
Like when you smell them, what is it you're looking for?
Yeah, just... well, is it better? How do you measure better? How philosophical are we going to get today?
It's hard to put words on it, isn't it? What the
Yeah.
difference is between those two things.
It is. I mean, yes, fruitier, jammier. This one somehow smells a bit more solid to me. Skin, even though it's made with lots of musks, because it's got the honeybush and the helichrysum in it, it's the helichrysum essential oil, it's quite sparky and pointy.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the raspberry ketone takes the helichrysum and just goes, it's kind of marshmallows it. Covers it in smooth, squishy friendliness. So, makes it slightly sweeter skin. So I tend to add it to any fruity floral that I'm going to make. I've also got the other raspberry material, which is
Raspberry leaf.
raspberry something something butanone.
Oh, right.
I've got raspberry leaf absolute
And
as
that,
well.
that smell doesn't smell anything like raspberries.
Smells a lot more like leaves.
Yeah.
But so I would use the raspberry leaf absolute with raspberry ketone in order to get a nice low raspberry smell.
Yeah.
And now I'm going back to smelling sparkles.
Is raspberry ketone synthetic?
It can be either. So raspberry ketone natural made from raspberries is exactly the same chemical compound as raspberry ketone which is synthetic. Both biodegradable. And the natural one made from raspberries is 20 times more expensive. And you could be eating the raspberries.
Yeah.
So, as far as sustainability is concerned, for me, eat the raspberries, use the synthetic.
Yeah.
For people who need to be able to say on their packaging, it's 100% natural, even though it smells exactly the same, they might want to pay 20 times more. But I originally bought the synthetic one and I genuinely can't see a reason otherwise. I like eating raspberries. I mean, don't grow the raspberries and turn them into this, is what I think.
I can't remember which is which. Oh no, this is
Well, I
raspberry.
wrote on mine, so you can try mine if you like, but they're going for me. So the raspberry ketone, even though it's a base note, I was expecting it to sort of bring it downwards a bit, has made it feel in my head higher.
I agree. I completely agree.
So I wasn't expecting that, and that's why we do experiment.
Wow.
It's done the same with skin. It's lifted it up for me.
So what would be? So now you've done these sort of tests.
Next thing I would do is during the course of the rest of the day, where I'm going to be downstairs in the lab, I got to bottle some things for a project Lizzie Ostrom's doing, and then I've got to work on some things for 2 clients, and then I've got a friend coming round. I haven't seen him, I think, since 1990. I was at university.
Whoa!
With. Yeah, he's repairing a vase that I had that's broken, and I'm going to give it to him. He's going to kitsune.
Oh yeah, the gold thing.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
He got a kit for Christmas, so I can let go of the vase. It's from Middlesbrough. It's a little art supply. If it was perfect, it would be 500 quid's worth of vase. But this is smashed, and some idiot tried to turn it into a lamp, and I got it for 20 quid. But I don't have the time nor the skills to fix it. So that's my evening. Anyway, so after that, after Tim has left with the vase, I'll come back here and smell them again and see then what has happened to them, because what's happened now is important, because people buy perfumes usually on what they smell like now at the moment when they spray them on, and what happens later is important, just to see
What happens later?
now I know it's safe to put on the skin, so I'm going to do it, because I didn't put anything on today, because I do this for a living. So I'm going to put, so that's a skin with, so I'm going to do also, oh there's some in the pipette, I'm going to do skin without.
Skin with.
Yeah, that's one skin without, this one skin with.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's also what I'm going to do. And that, so that will do me. That's my raspberry ketone experiment today is fine. You smell it, you dilute it, you smell it on strips, you see what it's like over the course of the day. But then you've got to start adding it to things in order to find out what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the interesting part.
Do you find that raspberry ketone, is it one of those sort of highly like chameleon-like ingredients? Does it, depending on what you pair it with, does it change significantly, or is it always just going to be a smack of raspberry?
I have only found it to be more raspberry. I haven't found it to do anything else. I think the clue might be in the name. Oh, there's the crow. Excellent. But I generally just feel that I want to put raspberry ketone in things, so I do. So I very rarely end up with a version of something that has or hasn't got. I don't generally have a with and without.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons I set this as a task, was that I wanted to see what happened when I did it. And then we'll like crowdsource what happens when you do this with raspberry ketone, and we'll see what all the other enthusiasm people come back with.
See, to me, this has still made skin. It's given skin a boost.
Yeah.
It's made it leap off the strip more. In fact, to me, it hasn't made it raspberry-ish. To me, it's made everything else louder.
Right. Well, there was only. I was only dabbling. There was only a tiny amount.
No, but I mean,
Given that, yes.
it seems to have pumped everything else up.
Yeah. You see, I'm not sure if because I'm expecting to smell raspberryness, I am expecting that's what's happening.
Yeah, maybe.
I do think it's fruitier. But do you want to smell Mother Nature's Naughty Daughters, because that's got some in it?
Yes.
Because, I mean, I use it. There's some of mine which I look at them and I think, why do you last that long when you're not at that heavy a concentration? And, I mean, this is very raspberry. And it generally comes down to which powders did I put in.
Mm-hmm.
This one has maltol and raspberry ketone. And I can't remember what else.
Gosh, it's so good.
Thank you. I mean, this starts out being much more raspberry. I think we even put raspberries on the label, on the Tesla label. So, but I think if you're trying to make one of the kind of rich, turn of the century fruity florals, you need just a little bit, maybe, maybe even just 1% in the formula. Raspberry ketone will.
Yeah, so good.
And then you just wonder, what is it that's doing that? And it's this raspberry ketone and methylinon gamma for a secret fruity floral background.
Great.
Yeah. I can smell this forever. Yeah, that's probably all I need to say about raspberry ketone.